Chimmaji Malsapati Nagre. He was called Bhagat by Baba. He was a goldsmith by profession, and in those days, since Shirdi was a very small, remote village, he had very little earning from making golden ornaments. His Isht Devat was Khandoba, and Khandoba once came to him and told him, "Is it necessary for you to have this profession? Don't you have faith in me?" And Malsapati had intense faith in Khandoba, and so he even stopped doing the little amount of work that he had as far as making ornaments. He had a field, however, that was barren, so that yielded nothing. Being a priest of the Khandoba temple, in those days, there were hardly any devotees that gave him dakshina or asked him to do a ritual for which he would get paid. Thus, Malsapati was really, really poor. And he had a control over his hunger, so it didn't bother him too much. However, his family, because of the poverty, would go hungry for many a day. The other thing with Malsapati was that he thought that if he accepts money from somebody, then his merits that he's accumulated, his spiritual merits would diminish. So he did not accept money from anybody who gave it to him. Thus, he led a life which was really austere, and he had not much to give to his family either. So, Malsapati is this very devout person who, being a devotee of Khandoba, had read the Malsa Puran many times. He had done a study of it and would often do Parayan of it. He also would go to Jazuri, which is about 150 kilometers away from Shirdi, carrying a palki with a group of other devotees, or he would carry kavad, he would carry water to bathe his Ishta Devat. Thus, he was really connected with Lord Khandoba, and many a time Khandoba would come upon him and he would go into Avesh and into a trance, and he would make predictions. And all the predictions that he made came true. When Baba first came to Shirdi with Chandbai Patil, Debolakat was tied in Malsapati's field. Baba wandered off and went into the Khandoba Mandir, and there Malsapati was, who looked at Baba and said, "Ya Sai." And thus Malsapati did Namkaran for Baba and called him Baba. Subsequently, all the villagers started calling him Sai Baba. Thus, he did the Namkaran, which is one of the 16 samskars that we have to do. Malsapati, though he was not against Muslims as such, looked at Baba and thought he was a Muslim because of his dress. However, Baba told Malsapati that this place is so quiet and such solitude in this place, it would be a nice place to stay. This upset Malsapati, and he told him, no, you cannot stay in the Khandoba Mandir. Malsapati was concerned because he believed that all Muslims were iconoclasts. They would break his idols. So he asked Baba to go into the village, and Baba left Khandoba Mandir and started staying in the Shirdi village. However, Malsapati recognized Baba's divinity. So he, Appa Jagle, Kashiram Shimpi were the first devotees of Baba, and they tended to his need. They would give him a pie in those days, so that Baba could buy tobacco and for his chilim, and could use that money to buy oil for the lamps. So these were the first devotees that looked after Baba or cared for Baba when Baba first came to Shirdi. After Malsapati refused did not allow Baba to stay in Khandoba temple, he stayed in the village, mostly under the neem tree. Finally, he came to the dilapidated mosque, which is now called Dwarkamai, and he started staying in there. Malsapati, although he did not allow Baba to stay in the Khandoba temple, recognized his divinity, and he would come to be with Baba. Like there were other, like Janki Das, Baba would talk to Janki Das and other saints that were in Shirdi at that time. Malsapati saw that, and he wanted to be associated with Baba at all times. And Baba, seeing his divinity and seeing his spirituality, and knowing that he was ripe to be led forward on a spiritual path, let Malsapati stay with him. So in the initial stages, Baba would ask Malsapati to sit with him the whole night and keep his hand upon his heart, and he'd say, I'm going to be chanting the name of the Lord, and I want you to put your hand on my chest. If I fall asleep, you will make out by the change in the beat of the heart. However, Baba was at that time looking after the other devotees that needed his help. And oftentimes Malsapati's hand would get heavy because he could not overcome sleep. And then Baba would wake him up and say, Malsapati, come on, Bhagat. Baba called Malsapati Bhagat. And he would wake him up and say, now again, listen to the chanting, listen to my heartbeat. Thus, Malsapati had the good fortune of keeping vigil with Baba. When Baba was helping others, Malsapati was awake and chanting God's name at that time. So he had that added benefit, which added onto his spiritual bank balance. An incident happened in 1886 in which Baba took 3-day samadhi. All of a sudden, he said to Malsapati, I'm going to take samadhi. You keep look after me. Malsapati took Baba's head and kept it on his lap, and he sat there the whole time for 3 days. Obviously, Baba gave him Shaktipat, so he did not need to answer the call of nature, nor was he hungry, nor did he move, nor did he upset Baba in that samadhi part. He was absolutely still. He was aware of his surroundings, but there was no movement. He was lifeless, like a statue. Thus, Baba could have his 3-day samadhi undisturbed. Because if they disturbed Baba, then the samadhi would have been broken. Before that, there was an inquest, and since Baba was lifeless and there was no heart rate and no heartbeat, everybody thought that Baba had passed away. However, Malsapati was so sure. He said no. Even Shama said, "Come on, Bhagat, now put his head down. He is not coming back." So Malsapati believed in Baba so much that he said no. He said he would come back in 3 days. So I'm going to wait for the time till the third day. I'm not going to put his head down. The police and the inquest was going on. However, Malsapati was not deterred by it. The Muslims had an ulterior motive, and they wanted to make a dargah of Baba, and the Hindus wanted he had pointed to an area where he said, "If I don't come back, bury me." So the Hindus wanted to carry out that, but Malsapati thankfully did not do that. Thus we had Baba for another 32 years of our life. I am eternally grateful to Malsapati for doing this and not keeping Baba's head down, or they would have buried Baba. Once Malsapati had gone to take Bhiksha. When he came home, his wife told him that Baba has left the village of Shirdi. So Malsapati goes to all the usual places that Baba would be in. At the present time, there is a bridge when entering Shirdi from Kopargaon, and it's now a gutter. That used to be a stream or a river, and there were banks of it on either side. Baba would go there, and he would dig a big hole and stand in it and cover his body with that sand right up to his head. That was sort of a sadhana that he did. Malsapati even went there and searched for Baba, but he couldn't find Baba. Finally, he thinks, I am not going back until I get Baba. So he goes to Rui temple, and there he found Baba sitting under the Ashwatha tree, the Audambar tree, and taking a thorn out of his leg. And then he says, Baba, come back to Shirdi. At that time, Baba was thinking of staying in Rui rather than in Shirdi. And Baba says, Bhagat, if you've called me, will I not come back? So again, I'm thankful to Malsapati for bringing Baba from Rui to Shirdi. Thus we have Baba in Shirdi with us. Baba asked Malsapati, like when the Sabha Mandap was being put up, he said, Are Bhagat, should it be done? So Malsapati said yes. And many of the devotees would ask Malsapati to go and ask Baba, so that he would give consent for work that was being done in the Dwarkamai at that time. And as soon as Malsapati would ask Baba, Baba would give the consent for it very easily. Otherwise, he would take off the iron pillars that were there. So here is Malsapati, Baba having so much of regard for Malsapati. That is something that I think is very notable. Bhagat. Baba also protected Malsapati and his family in many ways. Once it so happened that Malsapati had no money and his family was on the brink of starvation. Baba knew that even when he gave Malsapati money, Malsapati never accepted it. So what he does is he takes the 10 rupee note and he tells Dikshit to mail it to, post it to Malsapati. When Malsapati comes there in the morning, he says, Bhagat, you're going to get something in the mail, accept it. So when the postman does turn up with the money, Malsapati accepts that money, and at that time his family is saved from starvation. Malsapati had daughters, but he did not have a son, and he was really not interested in sex. So Baba tells him, Bhagat, daughters are like tamarind, and a son is like a mango. So you must have a son. However, Malsapati does not bother with it and does not go home. As usual, he stays with Baba because he used to sleep with Baba. He, Tatya, and Baba used to sleep together in the Dwarkamai with their feet together and their heads apart. So he does not listen to Baba's word. So Kashiram Shimpi takes him home and leaves him home. After that, he gets a son who is named Martand, and the son looked after the Khandoba Mandir after Malsapati. Another incidence of Baba's care for the family and concern for the family was his wife had gone away to a Gaon to visit her relatives, and there she had an abscess on her buttocks. It was really hurting her and she was running high temperature and the pain was quite excruciating. At that time she said, if I was with Baba, Baba would have looked after me. And here in the Dwarkamai, Baba heard that, and as soon as she said, if I was with Baba, or if Baba was here, he would have helped me, the abscess burst and all the pus came out, and subsequently it healed very nicely, and it gave her no problems thereafter. These are some of the incidents in which Baba takes care of Malsapati. Siddha Prajna, that means you be content where God has placed you. That is the one big thing that I can learn from Malsapati. Poor as a dormouse, his family is starving. He didn't have a son, and yet he is so content with his life, and he goes on with his spiritual practices. It doesn't deter him. And here we grumble for any little ups and downs in our lives. The other thing is that no matter what, do seva for your Guru. Whatever you can do seva for your Guru. Don't forget your Ishtadev. If Baba is your Ishtadev, then just stick to him. There are other Gurus who are so great. Don't go from one Guru to the other. Baba will take care of you in this life and every other life. This is another thing. No matter how hard life is, it is not going to be easy. Don't leave your Guru. Don't leave your God. Don't leave. Many devotees worship Baba as God incarnate, as God itself, as Parabrahma. Some look at him as Sadguru. So, in either case, just from Malsapati, Khandoba was it for him, and Baba was his Guru. So that is a lesson that I take home with me.